Hey everyone, time for another quick video devotion. It's Holy Tuesday during Holy Week, and we're talking about the Passion of Jesus. That is, his final hours and the suffering that he endured before the end. Today's devotion is about betrayal and how it causes us to reflect on how we treat those closest to us when they become inconvenient. The story is, you might have guessed, about Judas, perhaps the most famous betrayer in all of history. His betrayal is one of those few stories that appear in all four of the Gospels. And while each one is slightly different from the others, they paint a fairly complete picture of what went down when Judas gave Jesus up to the hired thugs of the chief priests. Let's imagine for a moment why Judas betrayed Jesus. The Gospels of Luke and John say that Judas was possessed by Satan, which may be another way of saying that evil thoughts and plans had come into the mind of Judas. This might make a little more sense if we read earlier in the Gospels when Judas went to the chief priests and agreed to betray Jesus in exchange for money. In Matthew's Gospel, it says that Judas was paid 30 pieces of silver. Now, there are a lot of different theories as to how much that amount of money would be worth today. But perhaps it's more interesting that this isn't the first time that amount of money has been mentioned in the Bible. If we look back in Exodus chapter 21, we learn that 30 shekels of silver was the price you had to pay if your ox kills a slave of someone else, which is interesting when you think of how Jesus was treated like a slave when he was arrested and tortured and then killed. But the question remains as to why Judas would consider betraying Jesus in the first place. Maybe Judas became unsatisfied with the work they were doing. Maybe Judas sensed that Jesus was a target of the religious leaders and the powerful. We may never know the answer to this question, but obviously Jesus had become inconvenient to Judas. The story reminds me of how quickly we can turn our backs on a friend when that friend becomes an obstacle to something we want. In our social lives, we make a lot of choices, and the basic motivation for a lot of people, especially teenagers, is a desire to be attractive to others. You want to be popular. You want to be thought of as funny or exciting. You want others to like you or even love you. Sometimes the people we associate with can get in the way of that desire, and so we're faced with a choice. We either give up on climbing the social ladder, or we sacrifice our friends. And we know the choice that Judas made, and he ended up regretting it. But let's pause there for today, and I invite you to read the gospel accounts of Judas's betrayal, and then talk with your families about times that you may have betrayed someone and why. Talk about the consequences of your choices, and think about what you could have done differently. Tomorrow I won't release a new devotion because there will be another Together worship service. I'll share that sometime tomorrow evening. I hope you'll join in and follow along in that service. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home if you're able, and find someone you can share this video with. See you soon.